Hey, it's Vox from Inferno Vox Gaming. Now, I'm not normally a completionist per se when it comes to video games and trophies. I mean, at best, I make sure to complete all the quests available for JRPGs like those from in the Trails or Kazeki series. But if there's a game that I love, absolutely love, I'm going to focus on getting all the trophies up to and including the mythical Platinum Trophy. And while I've been accruing trophies since the PS3 days, I've gotten only about 8 of these Platinums. So join me now as I'm going to go through all the games that I Platinumed as well as the stories that went with them. And while you're here, make sure to like this video, hit subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. But most importantly, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below about getting Platinum trophies and which games you've gotten them on. The first Platinum trophy that I'll talk about is the one that we got for Lego Harry Potter 1 through 4. This is a weird one for me because I don't normally like licensed games, and this is that twice over, both Lego and Harry Potter. I actually got this for my ex in June 2010, which is right around the time that we got into the Harry Potter series. First started watching the DVDs of the first 6 movies at home, then we both read the books, then saw the first Deathly Hallows movie near the end of that year. We played this Lego game together via co-op, and honestly, it wasn't that bad, and funny enough, it was my ex that convinced me to have us both play it until we Platinumed it. And even now that we're no longer together, at least I'll always have the Platinum Trophy. She kept the game, of course. Now, Final Fantasy XV had made a number of great strides upon its original release on November 29th, 2016, to become a better, more enjoyable experience. This includes overall strength buffs to accessories like the Ring of the Susan Lucci, but also overall gameplay improvements such as being able to control other characters in the party besides Noctis, and even making the drab hallway level, aka Chapter 13, much, much better. But not only did I play Final Fantasy XV before all of these updates, I Platinumed it as well. While I feel Final Fantasy XIII is not deserving of the redemption arc it seems to be getting, I believe Final Fantasy XV gets too much hate that it doesn't deserve. The battle system in 15 is something akin to Kingdom Hearts, and hey, I like Kingdom Hearts. I also love the story as well, especially the ending that, well, if you've been playing Final Fantasy games since the 10th entry, it pretty much ends in the same heartbreaking way. That made motivating me to complete the Platinum Trophy that much easier. Some of the more tedious trophies within the game were maxing out some of the mini-game based ones like fishing and photography, but besides that, completing the 80 side quests and defeating the Adamantoids really weren't all that bad. The trophy for this gem right here, Persona 5 Royal, is probably one of the more easy Platinums that I've ever gotten. The motivation to complete this was absolutely there, what with Best Girl Makoto in the game. Oh, yeah, and I suppose this is an absolutely stellar 10 out of 10 JRPG, but Makoto. A little bit of planning was needed on my end to get this trophy through the one playthrough, as this one playthrough, it did take me 95 hours or so, since I went through all of the extra post-game content featuring Dr. Maruki. The biggest potential trip-up was ensuring all of the social stats were maxed, as well as all the tests were passed, but beyond that, this really wasn't too much trouble to Platinum, making Best Girl Makoto proud. Now, what an absolute fantastic game Ghost of Tsushima was. I'm excited to get back into what will be an established series of games with the sequel Ghost of Yotai. For Tsushima itself, the trophy wasn't all that bad to get either. While this game isn't technically a JRPG, I went at it with a JRPG mindset. This encompassed keeping an eye out for all the side quests and making sure that they're all completed, as well as watching out for character side story elements to do as well. The only semi-tedious thing I had to use a guide for was the Honor the Unseen trophy, which requires Jin Sakai bowing to 10 hidden altars spread across the map. Yeah, I had no idea where these were at because if memory serves me correctly, nothing on the map indicated where they were at. Otherwise, just keeping up with the battle system and staying varied with Jin's attacks on enemies pretty much netted me everything else trophy-wise. Now, I'm always going to have a special place for Trials of Mana in my heart. I bought the collection of mana to finally beat Secret of Mana a couple years ago. I was so proud that I did, because I could never get into Secret of Mana, no matter how many times I tried before. The collection of mana also included the first officially translated version of Seiken Densetsu 3, or now renamed Trial of Mana. Not only did that SNES entry greatly surpass Secret of Mana, I got the pleasure of playing the 3D remake of it soon after that. Well, I did finish a playthrough of Nier Automata in between the OG SNES and this Trials of Mana remake. Going from the paradoxical, outlandish, and drab game that Nier was to the bright, colorful, and easygoing Trials of Mana remake was a breath of fresh air. Regarding the trophies themselves, it really required 3 different playthroughs, since there are 3 different last dungeons and last bosses, depending on whom the player picks as their main character at the beginning of the game. Not even New Game Plus helped me much on my second playthrough, since I did a girls-only playthrough first with Reese leading Angela and Charlotte, and then a guys-only playthrough with Duran leading Hawkeye and Kevin. Again, overall, not too bad, just a bit more tedious, since it required the 3 playthroughs, as I mentioned, and 2 of them maxing each character to class 4. It was really important, got to get them to class 4, which is only available after you beat the game, so a bit of post-game content on those 2 playthroughs. Now, my JRPG sensibilities also helped me get the platinum for Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana. Dana?
There is no Dana. There is only Zoo.
This title is probably the best of the Ys series. And if you're a fan of the channel, you'll know I've sung this game's praises a number of times. Getting the platinum itself, though, requires at least 2 playthroughs, as the trophy Beyond the Nightmare requires beating the game and getting the true ending on the Nightmare difficulty, which is the second hardest difficulty in the game. It's pretty doable on a New Game Plus, which is how I did it, but starting Nightmare difficulty at level 1 seems nigh impossible. Not only is New Game Plus available once beating the game, but also is an added option called Infinity Mode. Not knowing what this did, I turned it on and tried the Nightmare mode, and while Infinity Mode makes the enemies significantly stronger, but you get 3 times the drops from the enemies, because, you know, after an entire playthrough of the game, there just aren't enough drops in your inventory. This really helped to fuel the increase in difficulty overall in Nightmare mode, and while the game is normally controlled by Adol Christin himself, there are a few small parts in the game where the title-named character Dana is controllable. While New Game Plus made Adol strong enough to have him handle the supercharged enemies and bosses, my Dana control parts were not. She didn't gain any levels really from being in the past, and the last boss in these series of flashbacks just could not be beaten, no matter how many times I tried. And I'd gotten about 10 hours into the second playthrough. Oh well, had to restart it again and make sure not to select Infinity Mode, and eventually I got the platinum. Not only beating the game in Nightmare, but also able to pick up a couple stray items I needed in this second playthrough to get the item collector trophy on the second time around. Now, as a lot of these games I have a lot of fondness for, and Ys 10 Nordics is absolutely one of them. It came out the most recent out of this bunch, October 25th, 2024, and I played it, and I'll be real honest here, I played it through a pretty dark time in my life. And while the music in the Ys series is absolutely fantastic, often with high-spirited tunes and instrumentation, some of the more somber tunes really matched this time of my life and just really felt like the music upped the ante from beginning to end. Beyond that, of course, it's another one of Adol's great adventures with a great ending and an additional secret ending that hints at the absolute end of Adol's adventures. With that said, I was very motivated to platinum this game, and platinum it I did. Like Ys 8, this also has a trophy that requires a playthrough on Nightmare difficulty, thus necessitating the second playthrough. Beyond that, and like Ys 8, good JRPG sensibilities by clearing out all the side quests, maxing out my characters, resulted in the platinum trophy. Like the good people of a jaded IT team would say, I had problems between the mouse and the keyboard when it came to the Light of the Soul and the Night of the Soul trophies, as the activation of abilities in the game's skill trees had sort of confused me a bit. Once I followed a guide online on how to fill this out appropriately, I finally got those 2 trophies as well. So, admittedly, these platinum trophies probably haven't sounded all that tough to get. After all, PSNprofiles.com had shown that anywhere from 10 to 40% of players have gotten the platinum trophies I've mentioned thus far. Well, it's time to earn my nerd cred here. Time to present my Rock Band 2 platinum trophy. This requires getting a number of difficult trophies, but none so much as the Bladder of Steel trophy. This requires a player to not only complete the 6-hour and 12-minute endless setlist, which at time doesn't include load times between songs, but also complete this endless setlist without failing any of the songs or even pausing the game. So, how did we do this? Picture it. It's an oddly warm yet overcast November morning in the Chicagoland area. Looking to position ourselves for success on this run, and after finishing an early lunch, we placed my ex on medium for her favorite instrument, the drums, and medium was the lowest difficulty that this trophy can trigger. Our InfernoCast's own Simbu Darkfang, that's right, Simbu himself, it was on his own favorite instrument, which is vocals, also on medium difficulty, and I placed myself on guitar via hard difficulty, because if I did anything less than hard, I would have fallen asleep. Fortunately, there are a couple songs where there's like little to no vocals or little to no drums, so we had my ex and Simbu rotate out on these parts to grab food, use a washroom, or smoke, wherever needed. And whenever I needed to go, Simbu would be there to take the reins on the guitar. Because a gentle reminder that if any of the instruments lost battery power or connectivity, it'd pause the game by default and thus negate our run. So fresh batteries on all the instruments themselves was a must. The funniest moment I remember was playing a song where the vocals are just spoken words, which means the mic could just sit in front of the TV speaker and it would pick it up as 100%. And I played the guitar and man the drums. This would be tricky in of itself, especially since I had to avoid hitting the pause button on 2 different instrument controllers. Thankfully, we did finish the setlist and ended up getting the Bladder of Steel trophy, which then resulted in positioning myself to be able to get the Platinum trophy a few months later. And that was doing one of the more banal trophies called Comeback Kid, which triggers when the last player that defeated you in a score duel or tug-of-war multiplayer mode is then defeated at your hands. This game's trophies are no joke either. The second hardest trophy to get is the Platinum Artist trophy, requiring the completion of the Endless Setlist 2 on Expert. This Endless Setlist bottom loads the songs too, meaning the easiest songs are first and thus the hardest ones are last. Imagine playing through 6 hours worth of songs only to get felled by the awful Visions by Abnormality or the fantastic sounding Panic Attack by Dream Theater. So while some of these are trophies, again, admittedly weren't all that impressive, I do think it highlights both my dedication and tenacity when it comes to playing through some of my favorite games. And as I asked early in the video, what are some of the Platinum trophies that you've gotten? Or what about some of those that just got away? Let me know in the comments section below. I would love to start a dialogue with you guys. Otherwise, thanks again for watching and have a great day.